First of all, I'm going to show you the demo of the project. So here you can see that this is a main page. Here you can see the navbar, which contains logo, menu, search bar, login, and wishlist button. Here it is showing the timer, that is sales ends in. Then you can see banner. Here is a category. Below that category, you can see all other products are listed. So next, I'm going to click on this login, and you can see that we will be redirected to login page. Here I'm going to select the country, and I'm going to give the phone number, and I'm going to click on continue button. The next I'm going to click here. I'm going to fill these requirements for showing I'm not a robot. The next I'm going to do is to enter the OTP as like this way. After that, I'm going to click on verify OTP. You can see that we will be redirected to this main page. So next, I'm going to click on one of the category. So here you can see that we will be redirected to the category page, which contains the product based on that particular category. Here is the category also. The next, I'm going to click on that product. This is the details page. Here you can see the images, title, description, price, then offer. I'm going to click on the wish list. At that time, you can see that the notification product is added to the wish list. So I'm going to take the wish list. So here you can see that the product which we have added. So next, I'm going to click on this logo. At that time, we will be redirected to this main page itself. So here you can see that here is a product. It is sliding automatically. So next I'm going to search for a particular product. At that time you can see that that particular product is listed here. This is how the search is working. The next I'm going to click on one of the menu. So at that time you can see that that product based on the menu is listed. Okay, fine. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this logout button. At that time you can see that the notification logged out successfully and the button is changed to login. So after logging out, I'm going to click on the category. So here, this is the products page. Here, I'm going to take the product and I'm going to click on wish list. At the time, you can see that the notification, please log in. Then next, I'm going to click on this wish list button in the navbar. At that time, also, you can see the please log in notification or warning. So this is the project that we are going to create.
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel.
First of all, I'm going to do is to create a new TypeScript React.js project. So for that, I'm going to search TypeScript create React app, and I'm going to click on this link. So next I'm going to run this command. So I'm going to copy this and to run in this terminal. So now TypeScript React.js project will be created. So new project has been created. I'm going to run the project. So now you can see that this is the project. You can see the app.tsx. Next I'm going to do is to remove the boilerplate like logos, app.test from the source and the public folder. Okay. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this section from the index.tsx file. After removing this section, I'm going to change the app.tsx. So I'm going to take app.tsx as like this way. Okay. So now you can see that I'm going to give as app. So here is the project. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Myntra website. So here you can see that this is a website. So we are going to create this website. So first of all, I'm going to create this navbar. So before that, I'm going to install Tailwind CSS into our project. So for that, I'm going to search Tailwind CSS create React app. I'm going to click on the link. So here you can see that we have done the first two steps. So next, I'm going to copy the third command from here and to run it in the new terminal. So now Tailwind has been installed. Next, I'm going to do is to run this command. After that, a file called tailwind config.js will be created. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to copy this string from here and to paste it in the content section of this newly created file as like this way. After that, I'm going to copy this code and to paste it in the index.css. Fine. Then next I'm going to just copy this section of the code and to paste it in the app.tsx. So here I am going to give another style also, that is text color. So I'm going to give the text color as red. So we can give text hyphen red and a particular number. So here as of now it is not working. So I'm going to do is to terminate this project. So after terminating, I'm going to run the project again. So now you can see that here is the red color and the underline. So Tailwind is working fine. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component in our project. So I'm going to create a components folder, and inside this components folder, I am going to create the new file or new component called navbar, navbar.tsx. And here I am going to give as navbar as like this. Okay, fine. After that, I am going to take the app.tsx, and here I am going to call this navbar component. So here you can see that this is navbar of our project. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the navbar component, and here I'm going to use the h1 tag. So inside this h1 tag, I'm going to give as main. Then next I'm going to copy and paste this h1 tag as like this way. So here I'm going to give as woman, studio, etc. as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to give class name for this main div, that is flex. Here you can see that this is a navbar as of now. The next I'm going to do is to give the style, that is text size and font bold. Next I'm going to give class name for this h1 tag, that is margin left. So I'm going to copy and paste this margin left for other h1 tag also. After that I'm going to give here the style, that is color of this as gray. So this is a structure. So next I'm going to do is to create a new folder called images. And inside this images folder, I'm going to import this image from my system, the logo. So after that, I'm going to import that logo into the navbar component. That is logo from images slash logo. After that, I'm going to use this logo image in the image tag. I'm going to use it in the source attribute as like this way. And here I'm going to give the class name, that is width and height. So in this div, I'm going to give as item center, and I have changed the margin left for this men. Okay, so now you can see that this is a structure of the navbar. So after that, I'm going to do is to create or use another div after this h1 tag, and I'm going to use image tag. In the source attribute, I'm going to use another image. So I'm going to import this image of lens into this images folder. So next we are going to create the search field. Okay. So I have imported the lens from images slash lens, and I'm going to use that image in this source attribute as like this way. Next, I'm going to give the class name for this image tag, height and width. So now you can see that this is a structure. Here is the lens image. So after that, I'm going to use the input field. So I'm going to use a text field from the Tailwind CSS. So I'm going to search as Tailwind CSS text field. I'm going to click on this first link. I'm going to use this basic text field or input field. So here, this is the input field. So I'm going to copy that complete input field and to paste it here. Next, I'm going to bring some changes. I'm going to remove this type and ID, and I'm going to change this class to class name. Here I'm going to give the end tag as like this way. So after that, I'm going to change this placeholder, that is search for the products. Next, I'm going to do is to remove this dark placeholder, dark background, border, etc. After that, I'm going to do is to remove this focus blue colored section. Okay, fine. So next, you can see that this is a structure of our text field as of now, or the search field. So here I'm going to bring other changes. That is, for this div, I'm going to give the class name. I'm going to cut this border from there and to put it here. And here I'm going to give as like this way, outline none. And in this div, I have given flex and item to center. So here I have changed the color and also the rounded. Okay, so this is the structure as of now. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as font as like this way. Then next I'm going to copy and paste this background gray to this div also. So after that I'm going to do is to give here the width of the div, and here I'm going to give as margin left for this input field. And for this image I'm going to give the margin left as like this way. Okay, fine. Then next in the div I'm going to give as a height also. So this is a structure of our search field. Next I'm going to give a margin left for the div of search field as like this way. And here for this main div, I have given a padding also. Okay, fine. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as margin left for this image of logo. And after that I'm going to use h1 tag below this div of search field, and I'm going to give as login. Then next I'm going to give here an image tag as like this way, and I'm going to import this image of account into this images folder from my device. And here I'm going to import that image into this navbar component, that is account from images slash account. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to use this image into this image tag as like this way. After that, I'm going to do is to give the class name, that is width and height. So now you can see that I'm going to cut that portion and to paste it in the div. So as of now, I'm going to give a class name for that div, that is margin left. So this is a structure. Here is a login. So after that, I'm going to do is to change the margin left as like this way. Then next I'm going to import this image into this images folder, that is the image of logout. So I'm going to import that image in the name of out from images slash logout. Okay, so next I'm going to use that image into this images tag as like this way. So I'm going to copy and paste this div again, and here I have given the out as the image. So next I'm going to change it as logout. Okay, so I have changed the width and height also. So now you can see the structure as like this way. Okay, fine. Then here I am going to give as text size, and I'm going to copy and paste that text size in this second div also. Okay, fine. So this is the structure of our navbar. Then next I'm going to give a shadow for this navbar. Okay, fine. The next I'm going to click on this login or sign up in the website. Here you can see that this is the login or sign up page. So next we are going to create this login page. So I'm going to create a new login component, login.tsx. And in this component, I'm going to do is I'm going to call this login component in the app.tsx by commenting the navbar. So now you can see that here I am going to use another div. And next I'm going to give a class name for this main div. That is, I'm going to give as background color rose 50 and a height to screen. Okay. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here also the class name for the second div, that is height, width, and next I'm going to give the background as white. Then here I'm going to give the flex column flux hyphen col, and I'm going to give justify sender and also item sender. So at that time you can see that this is a structure. The second div is now in sender. So next I'm going to use the h1 tag, that is login or sign up. Then after that I'm going to give a class name, that is font for about bold and text for about large. Then here I'm going to use this span tag for putting this or, and inside the span tag I'm going to give the class name. So in the class name I'm going to give a style, that is font normal. So here this is the structure as of now. After that I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as text small. Okay, fine. Then this is the structure as of now. Then next I'm going to give this input field. So for that I'm going to search for React phone input 2. I'm going to click on this npm, and here I'm going to copy this command and to run that command in the new terminal. So I'm going to take the new terminal. I'm going to run this command. So now the React phone input will be installed into our project. Okay, it has been installed. You can see that in the package.json as like this way. Okay. So after installing phone input field, I'm going to take the documentation of the phone input too. So here you can see that in the documentation, this is the component that we need to use in the project. So I'm going to use that phone input component below this h1 tag. I'm going to import that from the phone input too. Then next you can see that we have to use these props. So first I'm going to use the country. I'm going to give the US as the default country. Then after that I'm going to copy and paste this value and on change. So here I'm going to bring some changes. I'm going to remove this dot state, and here I'm going to define next the state, that is phone. So phone set to phone, which is equal to use state empty string, as like this way. So after that I'm going to do is to change the set state to set phone. Okay, fine. So here you can see this is the input field, phone input field. So next I'm going to copy and paste this style from this documentation or example and to put it here. Okay. So now you can see that this is a structure. So after that I'm going to do is to give a placeholder props, that is phone number or mobile number. And next I'm going to use button style as the background color white. So this is the structure. You can see that background color white. Then next I'm going to give this text. So for that I'm going to use the h1 tag below this input field. And after that I'm going to give, by clicking continue, you will be logged into this Myntra clone. Okay. So after that I'm going to give the class name, that is the size of the text and also the color gray. Then next I'm going to do is to, here you can see that this is the structure as of now. After that I'm going to use the span tag, and I'm going to put this last portion in that span tag. So here in the span tag I'm going to give the class name. So in the class name I'm going to give as the text color. I'm going to give the rows as the color of that text and also font bold. So here you can see that this is the structure. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Tailwind CSS button, and I'm going to click on this link. So here I'm going to use this basic button. So I'm going to copy and paste this code from here as like this way after this h1 tag. So now you can see that here is the button. Okay, so we have to bring some changes. So first of all, I'm going to do is to change the name of the button as continue, and I'm going to remove this hover section, and I'm going to change the background color of the button. After that, I'm going to give the width of that button. So here you can see that as of now, this is the structure of our button. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here other style, that is text size, and next I'm going to give as input style props in this font input, that is the width of that font input. So here you can see that now it is aligned correctly. So after that I'm going to copy and paste this style from the main div, and here I'm going to use the div tag, and I'm going to put this font input component into that div tag. At that time you can see that this is a structure. So here in this div tag I'm going to give the class name, that is margin top, and here I'm going to give a margin top in the h1 tag and also in the button. So I'm going to copy this h1 tag and to put below this button. So here I'm going to change the text as like this way: have trouble logging in. And here I'm going to type as click continue. Okay. So you can see the structure as of now. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Firebase. I'm going to click on this link. Next I'm going to click on this get started. After that I'm going to create a new project by clicking add project. Here I'm going to give the name of the project as Myntra clone. I'm going to click on continue, and I'm going to disable this analytics. After that, I'm going to click on create project. Now a new project will be created in Firebase. I'm going to click on continue, and we will be redirected to console. Here you can see three icons is there: iOS, Android, and web. I'm going to click on this web icon, and here as a first step, we have to give the name. So I'm going to give Myntra clone as the name itself. So here I'm going to click on register app, and as a second step we have to install the Firebase into our project. As I'm using npm, I'm going to copy this command and to run that command here. So now Firebase will be installed into our project. You can see that in the package.json. So next thing I'm going to do is to use this code from here. So I'm going to create a new folder called Firebase, and in that folder I'm going to create another file called setup.tsx. And here I'm going to paste that code. After that, I'm going to remove these commands for making it more clearer. Okay. So after removing this command, you can see that here is Firebase config. The Firebase config contains API key, auth domain, project ID, etc. So we don't want to bring any changes, so I'm going to minimize that. So here you can see that they have used or imported the initialize app. So the thing that we have to do is we have to import a function from the Firebase auth. So the function that we have to import from Firebase auth is getAuth. So after importing getAuth from Firebase auth, next I'm going to do is to define a new variable, that is auth, which is equal to, I'm going to assign this getAuth into this auth, and I'm going to give as app as an argument. So when we are using this authentication or Firestore, we have to pass this app as an argument to this function. So next I'm going to export this variable for using it in other files. It's like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the documentation, and after that I'm going to click on this continue to console, and we will be redirected to this console. So next I'm going to do is to click on build button in the left bar, and next I'm going to click on the authentication. So here I'm going to click on get started. Next you can see that there is native providers, additional providers, custom providers are available. So from that I'm going to click on this font. Then next I'm going to enable that font by clicking the save button. So you can see that it is enabled. So next we can use that functionality here. So for that I'm going to take this login component, and here I'm going to define a new function, that is send OTP, which is an arrow function, and I'm going to define a variable called a reCAPTCHA, and I'm going to assign the reCAPTCHA verifier as like this way. So here I'm going to give three arguments. One is auth, the next is the reCAPTCHA, a string. Then third argument I'm going to give as empty object. So next I'm going to define a variable. So I'm going to give the name of the variable as confirmation. And here I'm going to use the sign in with the phone number function from the Firebase. Then in this function also I'm going to give three arguments. So first I'm going to give as auth. Second I'm going to give the as state, that is phone. And third the reCAPTCHA. So next I'm going to do is to define a new state as like this way, that is user. So here I'm going to give as null. The next I'm going to copy and paste the set user here, and I'm going to pass this confirmation into the set user as like this way. Okay, fine. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to give the type for the state. I'm going to give as any. Next I'm going to do is to give here another div, and into this div I'm going to give ID as the string reCAPTCHA. It is for the section I am not a robot. So next I'm going to copy this input from the navbar and to paste below that div as like this way. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this placeholder as enter OTP. So at that time you can see that here is the text field. So next I'm going to bring some changes in the design. So first of all I'm going to remove this background color. The next I'm going to do is to give here a border spacing 1. After that you can see that I'm going to give width as like this way. And I have removed the margin left and I'm giving margin top there. So now you can see that this is a structure of the input field. So next I'm going to select the country, and here I'm going to give random number and I'm going to click on continue. So at that time you can see that here is the I'm not robot section. So here I'm going to give a class name for this div, that is margin top. After that I'm going to do is to change the height of this div to 96. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this button from here and to paste it below this input field, and I'm going to do is to change the name of the button as verify OTP. So at that time you can see that here is a button. Okay, fine. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new state, that is OTP. OTP set OTP, which is equal to use state, and I'm going to give an empty string. So we have to pass the OTP to the state. So I'm going to use the set OTP here in this on change of this input field, and I'm going to pass the e.target.value into this set OTP by taking the event. After that, I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new function called verify OTP, and which is an arrow function. In verify OTP, I'm going to do is to use this state user, which contains a confirm function. So into that, I'm going to pass OTP as an argument. So next, I'm going to give the async await to the send OTP function and try catch. Inside this catch, I'm going to give the console.error, and I'm going to pass this into the try as like this way. Next, I'm going to give the async await for this verify OTP function. Then I'm going to give the try catch, and in the catch, I'm going to give the console.error, and I'm going to pass the error. After that, I'm going to cut this user.confirm and to paste it in the try as like this way. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this verify OTP from here and to paste it in the button as like this way. So after that, I'm going to give a condition for this button, that is if OTP is true, then only we have to show that verify OTP button. Like that, I'm going to give the condition for this input field, that is when user is true, then only we need to show that input field as like this way. After that, I'm going to give the condition for this phone input. So here you can see that this is a div which contains the phone input. So here I'm going to give the condition that is if user is equal to null, then we have to show this phone input. Okay. And here also I'm going to give the condition for the continue button. That is, I'm going to give the condition that is OTP is false. Then we have to show the continue button. Okay. So now you can see that I'm going to select the country and I'm going to give my number in this input field and I'm going to click on continue button. At the time you can see that here is the section for showing I am not a robot. So I have clicked there. So now you can see that the input field has gone. So here there is input field for OTP. So I'm going to click on verify OTP. So next I'm going to do is to give a console here. So I'm going to log the auth in the console. So after that I'm going to take the console. So at the time you can see that in the console here is the auth. So auth contains the current user. So when I click this current user, you can see the phone number. So the user is logged in. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this whole div from here and to paste it here. And next I'm going to call the navbar component above this div as like this way. So now you can see that in the login also there is navbar. So after that I'm going to take this app component and I'm going to comment this login component here and I have called the main component. So after that I'm going to define a new component as banner. So here I am going to do is I'm going to import these two images of banners into the images folder and next I'm going to import that images into this banner component as like this way. That is banner 1 from images slash banner 1 and banner 2 from import banner 2 from images slash banner 2. Okay. So after that I'm going to give the images tag here and in this images tag I'm going to give the source attribute that is banner 1. Next I'm going to use class name here. That is, I'm going to give the padding 4. Then next, I'm going to use another image tag. In the source attribute, I'm going to give banner 2. And I'm going to give the class name padding. After that, I'm going to do is to call this banner component in the main component below this nav bar. So now you can see that here is the banner. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to run the command npm install react router DOM. So I'm going to install React router DOM into our project. So now React router DOM will be installed into our project. So you can see that React router DOM in the package.json. Okay. Next I'm going to take the index.tsx file and in this index.tsx I'm going to import the browser router and I'm going to wrap this app component using browser router. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the app component and here I'm going to import the routes and route component from the React router DOM. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to use this routes component here. Inside this routes component, I'm going to use the route. So I'm going to give route for each component in our project. So in the path props, I'm going to give as slash. Then here in the element props, I'm going to pass the main component as like this way. After that, I'm going to do is to use another route component. And in this path, I'm going to give as slash login. Then next I'm going to use the element props and in this element props I'm going to pass the login component as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to remove this login and main component from here. So after that I'm going to take the navbar component and here I'm going to use the link component from the React router DOM. Next I'm going to wrap this div using this link component and I'm going to use the two props in this link component as like this way. In these two props I'm going to give as slash login. So now I'm going to click on this login button. We will be redirected to this login page. Next, you can see that in the website of Myntra, here is the category card, category section. So I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component in our project. So I'm going to create the component called home.tsx. In this home.tsx, I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to give as home here. Next, I'm going to call this home component in the main component below this banner. So then after that, I'm going to search for the fake store API. Then here I'm going to click on this Platzi fake store API. After that, I'm going to click on this view docs. Then next, here you can see that there is a products in the sidebar. So I'm going to copy this URL from here. Next, I'm going to do is to take the project. In the home component, I'm going to define a new function. So the function get products, which is an arrow function. In that function, I'm going to use the fetch operation as like this way. So in the fetch operation, I'm going to give as or paste the URL that we have copied from there. Next, I'm going to use this response and I'm going to convert the response into JSON format. And I'm going to do is to take this JSON formatted response and to log in the console.log JSON. So now you can see that I'm going to call this async await here and try catch. So in the catch, I'm going to give the console.error. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this fetch operation and paste it in the try. So after that, I'm going to use the use effect hook. And inside this use effect hook, I'm going to call this function get products. So now you can see that I'm going to take the console. So in the console, you can see the list of the products as like this way. So I'm going to take each product. So in each product, you can see that there is category. The category contains the name, images. The next you can see the price, the title, etc. So here, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new state that is product, set product, which is equal to use state. And next I'm going to copy and paste this set product here. So after that, I'm going to do is to map through this product state that is product.map. Then next I'm going to do is I'm taking each product as data here. Then next I'm going to do is to use the h1 tag. And inside this h1 tag, I'm going to give data.category.name. So here I'm going to give as type of this data as any. And now you can see that there is 5 categories, that is clothes, shoes, electronics, furniture, miscellaneous. These are the 5 categories available in this array of products. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this mapping from here. And next I'm going to use another div and I'm going to import this image of clothes, electronics, others, furniture as like this way in this images folder. So after that, I'm going to import these each images into this component as like this way. So first I'm importing the image that is shoes from images slash shoes. Then next I'm going to import the image furniture from images slash furniture. After that, I'm going to do is to import another image that is clothes from images slash clothes. Then after that, I'm going to do is to import image that is electronics from images slash electronics. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to import the image that is others from images slash others. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to use these images here. So in this div, I'm going to do is I'm going to give this child that is background image. So inside this background image, I'm going to give as backtick, and inside this backtick, I'm going to give URL. So here I'm going to do is I'm going to give the image that is clothes. Next, I'm going to give the background repeat as no repeat, and also I'm going to give background size as I'm going to give a specific size that is 300px 300px. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to give here a class name. That is, I'm going to give a height and also a width. Then I'm going to give class name for this main div, that is padding. Now you can see that this is the image. So next I'm going to use a third div inside this. So in this div, I'm going to do is to use the h1 tag. So I'm going to give or use h1 tag for 3 times. Just like this way. So here you can see that in this website, this is the structure of the category cards, which contains the name, offer, like that. So I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as clothes, that is a category. Then next I'm going to give as the offer. After that I'm going to do is to give as shop now. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that here is the structure. After that I'm going to give here class name, that is background pink, as like this way. So next I'm going to give text color as orange. Then I'm going to give the class name for this h1 tag also, that is text large. Then here I'm going to give as text excel, and here I'm going to give as text large itself. So here I'm going to give as text hyphen excel. Okay, fine. Then next you can see that this is the structure as of now. After that I'm going to do is I'm going to give here a font that is bold. Then here I'm going to give as flux column, item sender, and justify sender. Okay, it is aligned at the center. Next, I'm going to give here a padding for this class name and also padding top. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to do is to copy and paste the div again as like this way. So here I'm going to change each image. So here I'm going to give as shoes. Here I'm going to give as furniture. And next I'm going to give as electronics. At last I'm going to give as others. Okay, fine. Then after that I'm going to do is to give style, that is flux justify between. So now you can see that here is 5 cards of categories. So next I'm going to do is here I'm going to change the name of these categories, each categories as like this way. So here I'm going to change the offer percentage also. I'm giving randomly. So this is a structure as of now. After that I'm going to do is to create a new component called products. Products.tsx. And next in the products component, I'm going to define the function. So I'm going to cut this function use effect and use state definition from this home component and to paste it in the product component as like this way. Next I'm going to do is here I'm going to map through this product state. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to take each product as data. Then next I'm going to use image tag, and in the image tag I'm going to use data dot images of 0 in the source attribute. Here I have given the type of the data as any. So next I'm going to do is here I'm going to use the link component in this home component as like this way, and I'm going to wrap each of this div by using the link component. So after that I'm going to do is to give the 2 props into this link component. So I'm going to give as 2. So here I'm going to give as slash products. So I'm going to copy and paste it the same to other link component also. So now I'm going to give another route in this app component, that is in the route I'm going to give as path slash products, that is in element I'm going to give the component products. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to click on any of this category. At that time we will be redirected to this products component or page. You can see the products here. Okay. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the home component, and here I'm going to pass the category as like this way by using the state props in the link component. So here I have passed the category as close. Then here I'm going to pass category that is shoes. I'm passing the category which is hard coded. So here I'm going to pass the category as electronics. Here as furniture, category, colon, furniture. Then next I'm going to pass as, so sometimes you can see that the furniture is misspelled here. So that's why I have given as FO. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to use the filter method from the JavaScript in this products component before this mapping. Then I'm going to take the data. Then next I'm going to do is to give as data.category.name. Then after that I'm going to give as the type of the data as any. Then next I'm going to do is to use the includes method from JavaScript. And in this includes method, I'm going to give as, so I'm going to take the data which is passed in the link component using use location hook from the React router DOM. So next I'm going to give here as location dot state dot category. So now you can see that I'm going to click on specific category. You can see the products related to that specific category only. Okay. So here I'm going to give a class name that is grid. I'm going to divide this into 4 columns. So now you can see the product as like this way. So here I'm going to give a padding, and also here also I'm going to give class name for giving padding for each image. So this is the structure as of now. I have clicked the category clothes. Then next I'm going to click the category furniture. So after that I'm going to click the category that is electronics. Here is electronic devices. Then next I'm going to click the category that is others. So you can see that random product is here. Then at last, I'm going to click as shoes. So here you can see the shoes are listed. Okay, fine. Then here you can see that when I click these categories in the original website, here is a product. You can see that there is along with the image, the name, price, and other details. So next I'm going to do is use the h1 tag in this product component for 3 times. So here I'm going to use the div tag, and I'm going to put this image and the 3h1 tag inside that div. So next I'm going to do is to give as data.title in this h1 tag. Then in the next h1 tag, I'm going to give as data.category.name. Then at last, I'm going to give as data.price. So next you can see that I'm going to show you these details as like this way. Okay, fine. Then after that, I'm going to do is to give class name for this first h1 tag, that is, I'm going to copy that class name and to paste it in other h1 tags as like this way. So next I'm going to give a text and font to bold here, and here I'm going to give as text color gray. So this is the structure as of now. Then after that I'm going to do is to give rupees here. Okay. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as font bold, and here I'm going to give as width as like this way. The next I'm going to give height for this image tag. Okay, fine. Next I'm going to give this section of offer. So here I'm going to give h1 tag. Inside this h1 tag, I'm going to give as data dot price plus 100 plus 500. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to do is to use the div tag, and inside this div tag, I'm going to put this h1 tags as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to give class name for this div tag, that is I'm going to give as flux, and next I'm going to give as rupees here. Here also I'm going to give a class name, that is text size and text color as gray. So after that, I'm going to give as line through, and here I'm going to give a margin left, and here I'm going to give item center. So now you can see that here is a cross for that price. So next I'm going to give another h1 tag to show the offer. Here I'm going to give as class name, text size, and also the text color as orange, as like this way. So now you can see that here I'm going to give as a bracket. So this is the final structure of our product page. Here I'm going to give a margin left also. Here I'm going to give margin top. So next I'm going to do is to give a size, text size here for the price. Here I have changed it to as 500 off. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to search for React responsive carousel, and I'm going to copy this command from here. So next I'm going to run this command. So it has been installed into our project. You can see that in the package.json as like this way. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the documentation, and in the documentation you can see an example. So here in the example you can see that we have to use this carousel component. So I'm going to copy that completely from there and to paste it below this image. I have imported that from the React responsive carousel. Next I'm going to copy this style from there and to paste it here. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this p tag from here. Then next I'm going to give images into this source attribute. So I'm going to copy and paste this image. After that I'm going to copy and paste this image tag as like this way. Here I'm going to give as data.images of 1. Here I'm going to give as images of 2. Next I'm going to copy and paste this class name in this carousel component. Then after that I'm going to remove that image tag as like this way. So here I'm going to do is, here you can see that this is a structure as of now. I'm going to remove that bottom section. So here I'm going to give show thumb to false in this carousel component. After that I'm going to do is to give the show arrow to false as like this way. Next I'm going to change this height and also this margin top. So this is the structure currently. So here I'm going to give as autoplay to true. So now you can see that it is scrolling automatically. So we can do it by clicking this dot on each carousel. So next I'm going to do is to use h1 tag here. So I'm going to give as location dot state dot category here. What I'm going to do is to cut this entire div from here and to paste it here. And the next I'm going to cut this h1 tag and to paste it above this div tag as like this way. So now you can see that here is the category. So next I'm going to give the style such as I'm going to give here class name, that is text size and font to bold, and also I'm going to give margin left, and also I'm going to give margin top. So now you can see that this is a structure. After that I'm going to do is to use the navbar component above this h1 tag as like this way. So now you can see here is the navbar. So next I'm going to take the console. So here you can see that it is showing category as furniture itself. Sometime it will show the misspelled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give here the condition, that is location dot state dot category is there. Then we have to show the location dot state dot category, otherwise no products. So now you can see that it is no products. So as of now I'm going to do is to change the spelling from FO to FU. So now you can see that when I'm clicking this furniture, the furniture products are listed here. Okay, fine. Here I have given margin top. Okay. So next I'm going to do is, here you can see there is a time is showing. So I'm going to create a new component called offer time. offer time.tsx. Then next I'm going to do is to call this offer time component in this main component below this navbar. And next I'm going to take this product component, and here I'm going to call the offer time below the navbar in this products. So next here I'm going to give as like this way. So now you can see that this is the offer time component. So here I'm going to give the class name, that is background, and width, that is width I have given full, and background color I am going to give as blue to 50. The next I am going to give as height also. So now you can see that this is a structure, this is the component offer time. So here I'm going to use the h1 tag, and the h1 tag I'm going to give as sales ends in, and here I'm going to do is I'm going to define date, which is equal to new date function, and I'm going to define hour, that is this date dot get hours function. Next I'm going to define minute, that is date dot get minutes function. After that I'm going to define second, that is date dot get seconds. Next I'm going to do is to use the set timeout, and in the set timeout I'm going to give as 1000 1 second. And next I'm going to define a state, that is time, set time, which is equal to use date empty string. After that I'm going to do is to use this set time in this set timeout function, and here I'm going to pass the time in the form, that is hour colon minute colon second. So next you can see that here I am going to give that time state. So now you can see the time. So I'm going to remove that colon. So here is the time, that is sale ends in. So after that I'm going to give some other design, that is here I am going to give as H, M and S as like this way in capital letter. After that I'm going to do is, here you can see that this is a structure as of now. The next I'm going to give a span tag here. In this span tag I'm going to put this time, and I'm going to give a class name for that span tag, that is color of the text. I'm going to give the color as a rose. So this is a structure. Next I'm going to give a class name for this h1 tag. In this class name I'm going to give as style, that is text color, as like this way. Okay. After that I'm going to give style, that is flux column, item sender and justify sender. So now you can see that the time is at the center of the component. Okay, fine. It's looking nice. Next I'm going to give this home slash category. So here I'm going to use the h1 tag, and in the h1 tag I'm going to give as home. Next I'm going to use another h1 tag, that is location dot state dot category. Location dot state dot category. Next I'm going to do is to use the div tag, and I'm going to put this two h1 tag inside this div tag. Here in this div tag I'm going to give class name flux item sender, and here I'm going to give a class name for this h1 tag, that is margin left. So now you can see that this is a structure as of now. Then next I'm going to do is to give text gray in this class name of this div, and after that I'm going to give the text size as like this way. So next time you can see that here is a structure. So after that I'm going to do is to give margin left and also margin top. Okay, fine. Then next I'm going to do is, here I'm going to give or use the link component from the React router DOM, and I'm going to paste h1 tag here. In the two props, I'm going to give as slash, and here I'm going to give font semi-bold. After that, I'm going to do is to cut this text gray from this div and to paste it in this class name of this h1 tag as like this way. Okay, fine. So as of now, this is a structure. I'm going to click on this category. You can see that here is the home, the category name as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to call this products component again in this main component as like this way below that home component. So at that time you can see that below this category, here is the product, but we don't want this navbar and the category name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give condition for this navbar, offer time, and the div here. So I'm going to give the condition that is location.state.category. So I'm going to copy that and to paste it here. So if location.state.category is true, then only we have to show this offer time, navbar component, and this div as like this way. And also I'm going to give the condition for this h1 tag for showing the category, that is location.state.category is true, then only we need to show these elements. So now you can see that there is no navbar or h1 tag, etc. So here I'm going to give a padding left. Here I'm going to give margin left as like this way. So this is the structure as of now. So after that I'm going to do is to give or change this margin left here. And here I'm going to give as margin left again. So this is the structure as of now. So next I'm going to do is to create a new component called details.tsx. Here I'm going to do is, here I'm going to give as details. And next I'm going to take the app component and I'm going to use another route component from the React router DOM. So here I'm going to give as slash details in the path and the details component in the element props. So after that, I'm going to take this products component and here I'm going to use the link component to wrap this whole div. So I have wrapped this div. Here I'm going to give as two props to details. So I'm going to use link component here also for wrapping this div too. And I'm going to use the two props to give the slash details. So now I'm going to click on one of the product and then you can see that we will be redirected to the details page. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this function use effect from the products component and to paste it in the main component. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to take props in this products component. Next I'm going to define the type of that products props, that is interface product prop. Here I'm going to give as product prop to this prop, and next I'm going to pass the props to this product component as like this way. Then after that, I'm going to here give the type of that prop to any. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as props dot product. So now you can see that the error has gone. Here I'm going to pass the data to the details component as data itself in this both link component as like this way. The next I'm going to do is to take that data in this details component by using use location hook. So I'm going to assign that use location to this location variable. And next I'm going to console that location. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to take the products component and here I have given as condition. Next, I'm going to take the console. So in the console, you can see that here is the location dot state dot the data. The data contains the details of that specific product, the name, category, price, etc. Okay, so we have got the details or data here in this details component. So next you can see that this is the details page of our website. So I'm going to create a similar page. So here I'm going to give a class name for this main div. That is, I'm going to divide that into two columns. In the first column, or I have divided by using two div tag, and in the first div or in the first column, I'm going to divide that first column into two rows. And first row, I'm going to use the image tag. In the source attribute, I'm going to give as location.state.data.images of 0. And in the second row, I'm going to use div tag. And inside the div tag, I'm going to use the image tag. So here in the source attribute, I'm going to use as location.state.data.images of 1. I'm going to use another image tag here. So here I'm going to give as images of 2. Okay. So now you can see that this is the structure. Here is the image, 3 images. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here the class name that is flex, and I'm going to give as width. So now you can see that here I'm going to give the class name that is padding for 3 image tag, padding 1. So I'm going to copy and paste that same class name here. So now you can see that this is the structure of the left side. That's like this way. Okay, fine. Then after that, I'm going to give the title, description, price, etc. So for that, I'm going to use the h1 tag. In the first h1 tag, I'm going to give as location dot state dot data dot title. And in the second h1 tag, I'm going to give as location dot state dot data dot description. Description. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to give the class name for the h1 tags. That is, I'm going to give the style, text size, font bold. In the second h1 tag, I'm going to give the color of the text and size of the text. So now you can see the title and also the description. Next, I'm going to use another h1 tag and I'm going to give as location.state.data.price. And here I am going to give the class name also, that is the size of the text and font in bold. Here I am going to use or give HR tag and I'm going to give the class name for giving margin top. And here I'm going to give as rupees. Next I'm going to use another h1 tag as like this way for 2 times. And here I'm going to use the div tag and I'm going to put this 3 h1 tag inside that div. And the next I'm going to give here as MRP location.state.data.price plus 500 dot price plus 500 as like this way. The next I'm going to give another h1 tag, that is MRP class name for about the text size and text color. Okay, so this is the structure as of now. Here I am going to give the class name, that is line through, and also the text size. Here I am going to give the color of this text also. Next, for this div, I am going to give the class name and style. Here I am going to give as margin left. Here I have changed this text size. Okay, so now you can see that this is a structure. Here you can see the price, title, description, etc. Then here I am going to give the items to sender, and in this h1 tag I'm going to give as rupees 500 off. Okay, and also I'm going to give the class name, that is a color. So I'm going to give the color as orange, and also I'm going to give as font weight to bold, and also the margin left and text size. Okay, so now this is the structure. It is fine. The next I'm going to give a class name for this div, main div of right side, that is padding. Then after that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this whole div from here and paste it as like this way, and above that I'm going to use the navbar component. After navbar component I have given the div. So now you can see the structure of this detail section as like this way. Fine. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here the padding. Okay. Next I'm going to copy this inclusive of all taxes text and to paste it here in the h1 tag below this div, and I'm going to give the class name. So I'm going to give the color of the text as green, and also the font to bold, semi bold, and also here I'm going to give as margin top for each element, for description, for div, for this h1 tag as like this way. Okay, fine. So after that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the login component, and here I'm going to copy this button for giving the wishlist button. So I'm going to paste it in this details component below this h1 tag, and I'm going to remove this on click, and also I'm going to change this name of the button as wishlist. Okay, fine. Then next I'm going to bring some changes in the style, the text size, height, and I have given rounded as like this way. So this is a structure as of now. The next I'm going to do is to use a Firebase. So I'm going to click on this link. Here I'm going to click on this get started. So we have already created a project. So I'm going to click on this project Myntra clone. So here you can see that we have already used authentication. Next I'm going to use in the build option. There is other options also. So I'm going to use Firestore database from this build option. So here I'm going to click on this create database, and after that I'm going to select the place, and I'm going to click on this next button. So here they have already taken or selected start in production mode. Then now you can see that I have enabled this is the database. Okay, so we have created the database. We can add the collection to it. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the navbar component, and here you can see that it is login div and here it is logout div. So I have given a condition, that is auth.current user dot phone number is true. Then we have to show the logout div. So I'm going to cut this portion from here and to paste it here as like this way. Otherwise, we have to show the login button. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is here you can see that here is logout button because the user is already logged in. Then next I'm going to copy and paste this div again, and here I'm going to change it as wishlist. Okay, instead of login. Next, I'm going to import this image into this images folder, and after that, I'm going to import that image into this navbar component, that is heart from images slash heart. Okay, so after that, I'm going to do is to use that image in the image tag instead of this account. So now you can see that here I have given margin left in the class name. So you can see this is a structure. There is wishlist and logout button. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to define function for this logout as logout itself, which is an arrow function. And inside that function, I'm going to use a function from the Firebase. That is, there is a function called a signup. And into that function, I'm going to pass the auth as an argument. Okay. So next here I'm going to give as async, and also I'm going to give as await. Then after that I'm going to give try catch. Then inside this catch, I'm going to give the console.error, and I'm going to pass the error. The next inside this try, I'm going to give as sign out function as like this way. Okay, fine. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this logout function here in this on click of this logout div as like this way. So now I'm going to click on this logout button. At the time you can see that the logout is changed to login when I refreshed. Okay, fine. So the user is logged out now. So next here in this Firebase database, I'm going to change this false to true in this rules section, which is very important thing, and I have published it. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to take this setup.tsx file, and here we have to import a new function from the Firebase slash Firestore. So the function that we have to import from Firebase Firestore is get Firestore. So I have imported that function. Next thing, as usual, we have to define a variable. So I have defined a variable called a database, and I'm going to assign that get Firestore into database variable. Here we have to give app as an argument. Okay. The next I'm going to export this database variable for using it in other files. So after that, I'm going to use the setDoc function from the Firebase. And here I'm going to define a new variable that is user doc, and I'm going to use the doc function from Firebase. And here I'm going to give database as the first argument and the name of the collection as the second as argument. So here I have given as users. Then as a third argument, I'm going to give auth.currentuser.uid. I'm going to change it as string. Then next, I'm going to give this user doc as an argument into this setDoc function. And as a second argument, I'm going to pass auth.currentuser.uid itself as data. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take this details component, and here I'm going to define a new function called add products, which is an arrow function. And I'm going to use the setDoc function itself here. And next I'm going to define the user doc variable. That is, I'm going to use the doc function. And as a first argument, I have passed the database. Second argument, I have passed the name of the collection. And as a third argument, I have passed that is auth.currentuser.uid itself. Then next I'm going to define a new variable for the sub collection that is product. So here I'm going to give the name of the variable as product doc. I'm going to pass the name of the sub collection that is product as a second argument and user doc as a first argument, and the title of that product as the third argument, that is the ID. So here I'm going to copy and paste this product doc into this set doc as like this way. And as a second argument in this set doc function, I'm going to give the data itself, that is location.state.data. So we have passed all the data of that particular product. So next I'm going to give try catch here, and inside this catch I'm going to give as console.error, and I'm going to pass this into this try. Okay, fine. Then after that I'm going to call this add products in this button on click as like this way. So now you can see that here I have clicked the wish list button. At that time you can see that that product is added to this wish list. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to create the wish list page. So for that I'm going to create a new component called wishlist, that is wishlist.tsx. And here Next, first of all, I'm going to do is to give the class name. That is, I'm going to give class name grid column 4. I have divided it into 4 columns. Then after that, I'm going to use the image tag, and in the image tag, in the source attribute, I'm going to use an image that we have already imported as of now. So I'm going to import the clothes from images/clothes. Next, I'm going to copy and paste that into this source attribute. Next, I'm going to take the app component, and here I'm going to use the route component for giving new route. So here I'm going to give as slash wishlist, and I'm going to pass that wishlist component into the element props as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the navbar component, and here you can see that this is the wishlist div. So I'm going to use the link component here, and I'm going to wrap this div using this link component. And in this link, I'm going to use two props. Inside these two props, I'm going to give the slash wishlist. So now when we click on this wishlist button, they will be redirected to this wishlist page. Here you can see a image as like this way. So next I'm going to bring some changes in the design. So I'm going to take the wishlist component, and here I'm going to give the class name. So here I'm going to give the style such as the width and height as like this way. Then here I'm going to use another div, and I'm going to put this image tag inside that div. Then next in this div, I'm going to give the class name, that is width and height. After that, I'm going to give a border spacing 1. Then next, you can see that this is a structure. Here is a border. So next, below this image, I'm going to give the details, that is title, price, etc. So for that, I'm going to use the h1 tag for title, and next I'm going to use the div tag, and inside that div tag, I'm going to use the h1 tag for giving price and giving offer. And next I'm going to use another h1 tag. As of now, I have given it as offer. Okay. So here I'm going to give the class name and flux item center for the div. And then next I'm going to put this h1 tag and div inside another div. Then here I'm going to give as flux column and justify center and items center for that div. So at that time you can see that this is a structure. Here is the image, title, price, offer, etc. So next I'm going to do is to change the color of that. So here I'm going to give the class name, that is size of that text, font to bold, and next here I'm going to give the class name, that is margin left, then line through, and I'm going to give the text color as gray. Okay. So after that I'm going to give the size of the text also as like this way. So next I'm going to give the class name for this h1 tag, that is margin left, and also I'm going to give as font to bold and also the text color to orange. Then here I'm going to give another div and put this whole div inside that main div, and I'm going to give h1 tag here for giving my wish list. So now you can see that this is a structure. This is the design of the wish list page as of now. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here the class name, that is text size and also the font to bold. And here I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to padding left, and here I'm going to give as shadow to large. So this is a structure. This is the final design of our wishlist page. Then next I'm going to put this whole div inside here, and I'm going to use the navbar component as like this way. Okay, fine. So here you can see that the navbar component also in the wishlist page. So next I'm going to select the country, and here I'm going to give the phone number. After that I'm going to click on the continue button. Here I'm going to click on this space, and I'm going to fill this, and after that I'm going to click on the verify. Now I have got the OTP, so I'm going to enter that OTP here, and next I'm going to click on the verify OTP button. So next, when I refresh the database, you can see that here is the new collection that is created. You can see that this is the name of the collection that we have given as a second argument, and next you can see the ID that we have given as a third argument, auth.currentuser.uid. Okay, so we have passed that same UID as a data into this collection. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to search for React Toastify. Here I'm going to click on this link of npm, and I'm going to copy this command. After that, I'm going to run this command in the new terminal. So now React Toastify will be installed into our project. So you can see that in the package.json now. It has been installed. Here is React Toastify. So next, I'm going to do is to take this example in this documentation. Here you can see we have to import the toast container, toast and the style into this login component. I'm going to paste that as like this way. Then after that, I'm going to do is to use the toast container component above this navbar here. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here that is toast.success. Here I'm going to give the message that is logged in successfully. Logged in successfully as like this way. Okay, fine. Then next I'm going to do is to give here as toast.error, and here I'm going to pass the error. So for that I'm going to give the type of that error. So for that I'm going to define a new variable that is error, and I'm going to give the type of the error as any, and I'm going to pass this error here. So now after that, here you can see that this is a structure. Next I'm going to take the main page, and I'm going to click on one of the product. This is details page. Here when we click this wish list, the product will be added to the wish list. So I'm going to give that notification during the addition of the product. So for that, I'm going to copy and paste this toast container, toast and style from this login, and to put it in this details component as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to use the toast container in this details component above the navbar component, and I'm going to use the toast function that is toast.success. Here I'm going to give the message that is product add successfully, or product added to the wish list. Okay, fine. The next I'm going to do is to click on this wish list. At that time, you can see the notification product added to the wish list. The next I'm going to do is here I'm going to give as auto close for about 2000. So now you can see that this is a structure. So next I'm going to do is to take this wish list page. Here you can see that we have added the product as a sub collection. So you can see that when I click this product, here is the name of the sub collection that we have given as a second argument, and here you can see that the ID. So we have given the ID as a title itself, and you can see the whole data here. Okay, fine. The next I'm going to do is to take the wishlist component, and here we have to show that whole data that we have added to the wishlist sub collection or the product sub collection. So I'm going to create a new function called get product, and in that function I'm going to use the get docs function from the Firebase. So here I'm going to define a new variable that is user doc. So we have already defined two variables in this details component. So I'm going to copy and paste that here, and I'm going to import database. And the next I'm going to change this doc into collection. So when we are using the collection, we don't want this ID. We don't want to specify this. We need all of this collection or all of the documents. Then next I'm going to pass this product doc into this get docs function, and I have assigned that to add variable data. So here I'm going to log this data in the console. Next I'm going to call this get product function in the use effect hook as like this way. So now you can see that I'm going to give async, await, and try catch. And inside this catch, I'm going to give the console.error. I'm going to pass the error. The next, I'm going to give this hole into this try. After that, I'm going to do is here you can see that this is the query snapshot. Here we can see that it is in the form of docs, which we cannot use directly. Okay, so for that, for using it directly, I'm going to do is to define a new variable called filtered data. And I'm going to map through that docs, that is data.docs.map. Then I'm going to take each document as doc, and I'm going to call a function called data on this doc by spreading it as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to define a new state, that is I'm going to give the name of the state as product list, set product list, which is equal to use state. I'm going to pass the empty array. So next I'm going to pass this filtered data into this set product list function. So here I'm going to give as product filtered data to this set product list. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to map through this product list, and in the return I'm going to copy and paste, or I'm going to cut and paste this whole div as like this way. And next I'm going to do is I'm going to take it here as product. So I'm going to change it to product dot data dot title, and here I'm going to give the type of that product. Next here I'm going to change the image, that is product dot data dot images of 0. Then next here I'm going to give as product dot data dot price. After that I'm going to give here as rupees 500 off, and in this offer I'm going to give as product dot data dot price plus 500 as like this way. Then next you can see that this is a structure of our wishlist page. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of the product, and here I'm going to add it to the wishlist. So next I'm going to take the wishlist page by clicking here. So here you can see that there is two products are added. So I'm going to align. So for that I'm going to remove this div from here, and to put that div below this navbar component as like this way. Then I'm going to wrap this whole div using this new div. Here I'm going to divide this wishlist page into 4 columns by using the grid, and I'm going to cut and paste this h1 tag here. So now you can see the structure of this wishlist page as like this way. The next thing I'm going to do is to give here as rupees. Here also I'm going to give as rupees. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to take the app component and I'm going to do is to call this navbar component in the app component above these routes, and I'm going to remove this navbar component from all other components, that is login, main component, details component, products component, and wishlist component. So we have removed all the navbar from other components. So now you can see that this is a structure. There is no change. Okay, fine. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the navbar component, and here I'm going to copy and paste this toast container toast and style into this navbar component as like this way. After that, I'm going to call this toast container. So first of all, I'm going to cut this div, whole div from here and to paste it here. And next above that, I'm going to call the toast container as like this way. So here, I'm going to use the toast dot success. Inside that, I'm going to give the message that is logged out successfully. Successfully. Next, after that, I'm going to give here as toast dot error, and I'm going to pass the error. That is, I'm going to give or define the error. I'm going to give the type of that error, and I'm going to pass the error into it as like this way. So next I'm going to give the functionality for this search field. So for that I'm going to first remove this navbar component from this app component, and I'm going to paste this navbar component again in other components like main component, in the login component, and in the products component. After that in the details component, and at last in the wishlist component. So after adding the navbar to all other components, I'm going to take the main component and to define a new state. That is, I'm going to define the state called a search, set search, which is equal to use state. I'm going to give the empty string. So next I'm going to do is to pass this set search into this navbar component as a prop. And in the navbar component, I'm going to take the props. I'm going to define the type of that props by using interface. So I'm going to give the name of that prop as search prop. And here I'm going to give the type of that set search. That is, I'm going to give as any, and I'm going to pass this search prop into this as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here a question mark. At that time you can see that the error has gone. So here in this on change, I'm going to give the or use the props dot set search, and I'm going to pass the e dot target dot to value here, and I'm going to take the event. Next, after that, I'm going to take the main component again, and here I'm going to pass the search state into this products component. And in the products component, I'm going to give the type of that search as any. And here also I'm going to give as question mark. At that time, the error has gone. So next, I'm going to give here or use the filter method from JavaScript. And here I'm going to give as data. I'm going to filter based on data.title. And the next I'm going to use the includes method from JavaScript. And inside this includes, I'm going to pass props.search. And here for this data, I'm going to give the type as any. Then next I'm going to copy and paste this filter below also. And now you can see that I'm going to search for a particular product. At that time, that product will be listed here. Actually, the name of the product or the title and the image of the product is not related, but though you can see that the search is working fine based on the title that is given in this API. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is here you can see that this is a menu section, Here we have given the menu such as men, woman, studio, etc. But you can see that the products based on that menu cannot be found in this list. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to bring some changes for that menu, the name of that menu. So here I'm going to give as computer, shirts, pants, bike, etc. So I have changed the name of that menu. Then after that, I'm going to take the main component and I'm going to define a new state. So I'm going to give the name of the state as menu itself. Then here in this use state, I'm going to pass the empty string. Next, I'm going to pass that set menu to this navbar component as a prop. Then in the navbar component, I'm going to give the type of that props. So here I'm going to give the type of that props set menu as any. Then next I'm going to give the question mark here. At that time you can see that the error has gone. So here you can see that these are the menus. So I'm going to use the on click, and inside this on click I'm going to give as props.set menu, and I'm going to pass that name of that menu here. So here you can see that I'm going to pass computer. The next I'm going to copy and paste this on click in other h1 tags as like this way. And next after that I'm going to change, or I'm going to pass the each menu into this props.set menu as like this way. So now I'm going to take the main component again and I'm going to pass the menu state as a props into this products component. And in the products component, I'm going to give the type of that menu as any. Here I'm going to give as question mark. At the time you can see that the error has gone. The next before this map, I'm going to use one another filter method as like this way. So I'm going to copy and paste the filter method of search again, and I'm going to replace that props.search with props.menu. Next, I'm going to paste that filter props.search here also, and I'm going to change it as props.menu. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to do is here, I'm going to give the cursor pointer style. So I'm going to copy and paste this cursor pointer style to other class name of h1 tags as like this way. So here you can see that this is the menu now. So I'm going to click on the menu. At that time, you can see that the product based on that menu is listed. So as of now, you can see that the name or title and the image has no relation. Okay, in that API. Okay, fine. So next here, I'm going to do is in the navbar component, I'm going to use the use navigate hook, and I'm going to assign that to a variable called navigate. And after this sign out function, I'm going to use that navigate, and I'm going to navigate to this main component as like this way. So here I'm going to give the condition that is auth.current user is false, then only we have to navigate to this main component. Then next I'm going to use set timeout, and I'm going to put this navigation into this set timeout. So now you can see that I'm going to click on this logout button. At that time there is logged out successfully notification. Then next here I'm going to give as auto close as like this way. Okay, fine. So here you can see that as of now, after logging out, the button has changed to login automatically. So here I'm going to remove this link component for this wish list, and I'm going to define a new function called wish list, which is an arrow function, and I'm going to use the navigate here. So I'm going to navigate to this wish list component with a condition, that is before that I'm going to call this function in the on click of this div as like this way. Next I'm going to give the condition, that is auth.current user dot phone number is true, then we have to navigate to this wish list. Otherwise, we don't want to navigate. Other than that, I'm going to show the message, warning message, please log in. So now the user is logged out. So I'm going to click on wishlist button. At that time, you can see the message, please log in. Okay. So next, I'm going to take the details page. Here I'm going to give the same in the details page also. That is, here you can see that this is the function which we have called in the wishlist button. So here I am going to give the condition for this set doc function, that is auth.current user dot phone number is true. Then we have to add it to the collection. Otherwise, we have to show the message that is toast dot warning, please login. And I am going to give the condition for this toast dot success also. That is auth dot current user dot phone number is true. Then only we have to show the toast dot success. That is product added. So here you can see that now it is showing please login. Okay, fine. Next, I'm going to take the navbar component, and here this is the image of logo. So I'm going to use the link component from the React router DOM, and I'm going to put this image inside that link. Here I'm going to give the two props. In the two props, I'm going to give as slash or main component. So next, here I'm going to give the set timeout, and I'm going to put this navigation inside that set timeout in the login component. After that, I'm going to do is I'm going to define navigate, and I'm going to use the use navigate hook. So here I'm going to give the condition that is auth.current user phone number and navigate to main component. So I'm going to give the same condition for this toast.success also. So now I'm going to click on this category. As of now, you can see that the products are not listed based on the category or in the products component when we click the category. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this function use effect and the state from the main component and paste it in the home component. So here I am going to do is to pass the product as like this way, product colon product, and I'm going to copy and paste it after this category in the state props as like this in the whole link component in this home component. Okay. So next I'm going to take the products component, and here I'm going to console.log location. So in the console, you can see that I'm going to click on this category. At that time, you can see that we have redirected to this products page. Here you can see that location.state contains category as well as an array called product. Okay. So now I'm going to bring some changes. Instead of props.product, I'm going to give as location.state.product dot filter. I'm going to copy and paste this below also. That is, instead of props.product, I'm going to give as location.state.product dot filter. Then next, now also you can see that the product is not listed here. So for that, I'm going to do is to give conditions. That is, here we have given location.state.category is true. Then we have to show this mapping. So here I'm going to remove this filter and the menu. I'm only giving the filter based on the category. The next I'm going to give the condition that is otherwise props dot menu is true. Then we have to show this div. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this search props dot search filter as like this way. We have only giving filter based on the menu. Then I'm going to copy and paste this div again by giving a condition that is props dot search is true. Then we have to show this div. Then here I'm going to remove the props dot menu and I'm going to give as props dot search. So next I'm going to give at last otherwise a div which contains only mapping. There is no other filtering. Okay. So this is the condition that we have given. So now you can see that there is product based on that particular as like this way, particular category. So there is an error. So I'm going to give here condition, that is the question mark after this location dot state in all of this div as like this way. So now you can see that I'm going to click on one of the category. Here you can see the product based on that category. I'm going to click on the shows. Okay. So next, here in the last div, I'm going to give as props.product.map for the last mapping. So I'm going to bring some changes based on the props.menu and the props.search. That is, here instead of location.state.product, I'm going to give as props.product if it is props.search. And also in this props.menu, I'm going to give as props.product as like this way. So now everything is working fine.
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel